Plaintiff Cyan Drummond met the defendant when they worked as showgirls in Las Vegas, and they decided to start their own business. However, Cyan claims the defendant abandoned their business after she had sex with one of their employees, and then got in a physical fight. She's suing her for stolen property. Defendant Oana West denies abandoning the business and insists Cyan agreed to buy her out, but she never did. She's countersuing for unreturned property and harassment.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
So Oana and I were best friends. We became best friends when we worked for a showgirl company in Vegas. Basically, a showgirl company is when you wear a showgirl outfit and you walk around the strip and take pictures of tourists for tips. So we became friends that way, and we were so close. We got an apartment together, and we even decided to start our own showgirl business, which we did. We actually started in December, and it became official in February. We also got a partnership agreement, basically saying we can split everything 50-50. And it was all legal and binding. So we're doing really well, making a lot of money, doing great. When May rolled around, that's when Oana got into around two physical fights, and they didn't end too well. The first one was actually one with another showgirl. She worked for a different company. The other fight was actually with one of our employees at the time. At the time, I didn't know, but they actually had sex. So she actually had sex with one of our employees.
How did those fights end? Did she go to the hospital?
The first one, she was drunk, so I wasn't physically there for it. She was actually working that day, so someone just called me and was like, hey, Oana was drunk and got into a fight.
You still don't know who started?
But she came to me first. I'm sorry.
Pardon?
I'm sorry. She came to me first, and I was calmly talking to her, and she was just talking about how me and her other friend that wanted to like verbally.
You're talking about the first fight?
Yes. So she came to me and she wanted to like talk to me or whatever, but she was talking to me like real aggressive, whatever, and I was just trying to calm her down and like, whatever beef I have with you, I don't have.
How did it
beef.
become physical?
So basically, I stood up. I was just talking to her, and then
the first punch.
She hit me first.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the second fight was actually with one of our employees. At the time, I didn't notice they actually had sex together.
Yeah,
so
but it wasn't a fight
Oana,
though.
So was it a physical fight or not?
No, it was not.
Okay.
So
you said it wasn't.
The girl chucked the phone at her forehead, but I physically was not there for it. I was on FaceTime.
Okay. All right, let me hear more about you and her relationship.
Yeah. So basically, we were just really close. We did everything together. We were always going out.
And you went into business together.
Yeah, running a business together.
The business was going well, and then what happened to the business?
At the time of May, that's when things went a little left.
Because of her fights?
Correct. She got rushed to the hospital because she actually had to get stitches on her forehead. Probably like 5 days after that fight, she sent me a text basically saying she doesn't want no part of the business anymore, and that she messed up her face. She just felt like it was too stressful. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Okay, let me allow her to pick up, and then I'll get back to you on where you stop. Young lady?
Okay, so like she said, yeah, we became friends December 2019. I went into business with her December 2020. Honestly, I didn't want to go into business just because I don't like Vegas. I didn't want a Vegas business.
Why did you then?
So her baby daddy, or her sugar daddy, her baby daddy now, he wanted to evict her from his house. We were all three staying at the house together, and he wanted to evict her, and I, being the good friend that I am, I wanted to make sure she was financially stable, and so I was like, okay, let's start this business together.
Oh, you suggested the business.
Well, no, she suggested the business, but she needed help.
Who said, let's start this business together? Okay, because I thought I heard you say I said it. You didn't say it?
At first she did. At first, and then when we were like, at this point, we're friends, and this was like when the pandemic happened, and so I was in Maryland, and she was like, oh, come live with me, come live with me, let's start this business. I was like, I don't want to start the business.
Okay, let me move on to the fight. You said nothing happened physical, then you in fact went to the hospital.
Yes, and so.
Why did you tell me it wasn't physical?
Because she took my phone and threw it at my head.
That's physical. You don't think that?
Well, No, because
you
I
don't
wasn't
think that's
physically
physical?
fighting
Okay,
her.
let me get back to her. All right. She doesn't think getting busted in the head with a phone is physical.
That's what I was.
All right, I see what's going on here. All right, so tell me why you suing her.
So basically, I'm suing her because after she quit, after she quit through text, with no warning, no warning, no nothing, just quit through text.
Abandoned the business?
Yes, basically, and left me hanging. So after
I did not abandon the business. We had an agreement where you're going to pay me my half of the business.
she abandoned the business, she quit
Without
through text.
notice, obviously?
Yes, with no
without
notice,
a
no
significant
warning.
notice.
Correct.
Whatever the agreement, you abandoned the business. Go ahead.
Time passes by. I'm doing everything on my own. I'm paying for things on my own. Whoop de whoop de whoop. She texts me just saying she wants to talk in person. So okay, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, but
basically,
that was like 2 days after that.
Basically, she's saying that she wants to buy out because, that's fair. Give her a buyout after she put so much money in the company and she wants to leave. So obviously she deserves money. I was like, okay, give me some time so I can fill out the numbers. Whoop de whoop de whoop. I did. So I text her. I said, hey, I'll give you the buyout amount and how much it would be, but first you have to sign me off the lease of the apartment. She agreed. She said, okay, cool. I was like, okay, fine, that's fine.
Being the good friend that I am, I wanted to make sure she was financially stable. And so I was like, okay, let's start this business together.
Oh, you suggested the business.
Well, no, she suggested the business, but she needed help.
Who said, let's start this business
She did.
together? Okay, because I thought I heard you say I said it.
Defendant Oana West started a business with the plaintiff. And she claims after she left the business, the plaintiff came to her house in the middle of the night trying to fight her.
What was the amount you all agreed to?
I wouldn't tell her till after she signed me off the lease is what we agreed to in the
Did she
text.
sign you off the lease?
No.
Okay.
This is when everything went bad.
You're still on the lease?
We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
No, we won't. We'll talk about it now.
Yes, I'm still on the lease.
No,
well,
we're not
actually, the
still
lease
on
is
the
done now.
We'll talk about that later.
Like, I was like, I'm not there yet.
She tell me she'll talk about it later.
That's a first.
So basically, I am correct. I'm still on the lease, but the lease is actually ended. We figured it out. It's done.
Not we.
Oh, it's done?
Yeah, the lease is done. We're both not on it no more.
And that's when
Yeah,
you were
because of
supposed to
her.
pay her? You said what's stopping you was the lease.
At first, it was, okay, I'll buy you out the apartment, but first you have to sign me off the lease. That was the agreement. Day comes when
And then what would happen after she signed you off the lease?
I would give her a buyout amount and tell her how much it would be.
You haven't given her amount?
That's not how it went down. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Is it okay if I keep going?
You said that's what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's
Go
not what
ahead.
happened.
So
So
tell me
basically-
how it breached. Who breached?
She did. She switched up at the last minute, was like, hey, no, instead of that, can we just talk about the buyout amount first? At the time, I already had an apartment. I got approved. I was ready to move in. So I was like, no, we already agreed that you will sign me off the lease, then we talk about the buyout amount. So a couple of days we're going back and forth. So instead of her actually signing me off the lease, she just said, hey, I'll just sell my half of the business to whoever such, and then I'll sign you off. And at the time she didn't notice, but when she quit, I actually got in contact with our accountant at the time, and she dissolved the partnership. She dissolved the business license, so she had no ownership over the business anymore, and she didn't know that. So I sent her the proof saying it's no longer valid. You have no ownership over it.
Let's stick with the one that was current when you all were trying to come up with an amount to buy her out. Did you ever come up with an amount?
I did, yes, but
there we
did.
go.
Yeah, she
an
did.
amount that was agreed to?
No, I never told her the amount.
Okay, you never told her the amount?
No.
Why?
Because the agreement was, I will tell you the amount after you sign me off.
Yeah, but
And
that
you
was
were off the lease because the lease ended.
the lease ended actually like 2 months
So
ago.
whenever it ended, you were off of it.
Yes.
So why won't you pay her off as of 2 months ago?
Because once the lease ended, she blocked me for everything. I couldn't get in contact with her.
That's the reason you haven't paid her.
Yes.
She's here now. You got your check? You got your check? How much
no.
did you say?
The lease.
How much did you say?
I didn't
never
say
told me
anything.
any of this.
The lease didn't end that way. It actually.
Ma'am, you just told me you did have an amount.
I
Yeah,
did,
she
but I
had
never
an
told
amount,
her.
but she
How
never-
much was the amount?
I was just gonna give her 15.
All right, and the only reason you didn't because you couldn't find her. Got it. All right, let's get to the stolen property. What
Yes.
happened then?
So she after
You're gonna stick with that 1,500. If the only defense is you couldn't find her, we got her right here. You're gonna get 1,500 today. We know that part. If we don't know nothing, you're getting 1,500. Now tell me about the stolen property.
Period. I got you. So basically, after I sent her the screenshot of our partnership no longer being valid, she didn't text me back. At the time, I was making costumes on my own for like the employees at the time. So
Yeah,
it was
but
actually
with
time
the
for me to go pick
materials
up the
that we
costumes.
both
It was
bought,
actually
so
time for me to
she's-
go
Quiet,
pick up the
ma'am.
costumes. It was actually time for me to go pick up the costumes for my girls. They had all our feathers, their bras, their bottoms. So I got everything. I'm on my way home, and I come back, everything is gone. I'm looking around the apartment. I'm like, where's this? Where's that? And I like calling Oana. I'm texting her. I'm like, oh, where's this? Oh, can I have this back? So she sends me her location. So I figure out what she was. I go to her location. I see her car. All the inventory is just in her car, all of it. So instead of me knocking on the door, I just call the police. 'Cause I'm by myself at this time, and I'm pregnant, so I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I let the police know the situation. Basically, they're saying they can't do anything. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I just knock on the door.
You threatened to drag me.
Quiet, ma'am. Go ahead.
So I knock on the door, and I'm like, hey, is Oana here? They're basically saying no. I was like, yes, I know she's here because that's her car right there. And then they stuttered and closed the door on me, and I'm just like, okay. So I knock on the door again, basically going back and forth with everyone but Oana, but I know she's in the house, basically going back and forth. They call the cops. I'm like, okay, good.
Who owned those materials?
I'm sorry?
Who owned them?
We both did.
You both did?
Correct. We both put
All right, so she stole half of her own things.
Correct.
All right, and what was the estimate of the items?
She sold more than half of her things. It was $5,000.
Is $5,000 is the amount?
Correct.
All right. And she stole what portion?
I'll say more than about 70%.
So let me hear from you.
She still has a bunch of property. She has way more than $5,000 worth of property. She has.
Tell me how you got a hold of it and without permission, what happened?
Because we are roommates at the time, and so she's texting me back and forth. She's just texting me these nasty.
No, didn't this occur after you all broke up the business?
Yes.
Okay, so after you broke up the business, tell me from that point on, you broke up the business, how did you get the property in your possession after that?
Okay, so all the property, we're roommates together at the time, so all the property is in our apartment in the living room. And so she was just being really nasty towards me, and I'm like, okay, can you tell me how much you're buying me out for so we can negotiate? She's like, no, that's why you got that phone thrown at your head. You lift the business with the quickness. She says all this in the text.
How'd you get the items in your possession?
I went to my apartment. I took
our apartment.
Our apartment. There's an apartment at the time. They're all in the living room, and so I took most of the materials built to make the costumes, and I left the built costumes.
You put them where?
In my car.
You're still on the lease?
We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
No, we won't. We'll talk about it now.
Yes, we're still on the lease.
No,
well, actually, the lease is done now.
We'll talk about that later.
Like I was like, I thought it was not there yet.
Tell me she'll talk about it later.
That's a first.
Defendant Oana West started a business with the plaintiff. And she claims after she left the business, the plaintiff came to her house in the middle of the night trying to fight her.
So don't you think she's owed some of that money for materials that you both owned?
She has a bunch of costumes made, so we both have, like, I have $5,000 worth of stuff.
When she took all the inventory, actually, the day she took all the inventory, our employees were working that day, so they had everything. That's why when she took everything, I was gone. And the stuff that
because I didn't want the confrontation, and you talking
like the value of the things you had in your car, you think?
$5,000, but she has way more stuff. She has like
I got you.
$9,000.
And that's, I guess, your counterclaim for $5,000. How does she owe you? Property and harassment.
So we both, like I said, I have $5,000 worth of stuff. She has more than $5,000 worth of stuff.
Okay.
Because I built the costumes.
Do you?
Correct, yes.
How much is that worth?
Honestly, I wouldn't know, but it's definitely.
Okay, good enough. How much do you want for it? She doesn't know, so you just tell me what you want.
I want $3,000 for it.
You know, all right. What about the harassment?
So, like she did say, she came to my friend's house. She knocked on the door at 4 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. It
was 1 a.m.
She looking for me. Her sister talking about come outside. So I guess they both wanted to fight me. So I was not gonna fight her. I'm pregnant. Okay, why would you say you were gonna drag me then?
Go ahead, fighting again. And what else you want me to know about your new fights? This fight. Go ahead.
And so. Yeah, so...
You want money for a fight. That's essentially what you're saying.
Because he's saying that's what you're harassing.
Yeah. And then so, even after that...
You can stop there. You can stop there. You're not getting a dime for fights. How many fights have you had?
I
I'm pregnant, so 0. I'm not a fighter. I don't do all that.
Yeah,
Right?
me either. That's
We know
why
you've
I
had
don't know why
two.
she do that kind of-
All right. And so, ma'am, you're going to have to buy her out for the $1,500 that you wanted to give her, but you could not find her. With regard to the other clothes that you have in your possession, the property, you say you have no idea what it's worth. She's very clear on what it's worth. She says it's worth $3,000. So we split that in half. So she's getting $3,000. You said you were trying to give her $1,500. So let's not stop. $3,000 is your judgment. Your claim is dismissed. All right, that's my decision. Have a good day, lady.
Have a nice year. Life.
Plaintiff Kristen Wilson dated the defendant while he was separated from his wife, but she claims they were on and off because the defendant was always going back to his wife. Kristen is suing her ex for an unpaid loan. Defendant Bobby Davis says the reason he and Kristen were on and off is because she cheated on him multiple times, including once with his 19-year-old son's friend. As a result, Bobby refuses to pay Kristen anything.
Start with you.
Alrighty. So I had first met Bobby back in, it was a while. I met him through my sister. They were old friends. They went to school together.
When?
Do
When
what?
did you meet him?
Well, I've known him for a while, but in May of 2020, he had recently separated from his wife, and that's when we started hanging out more, spending more time together. And in June of 2020 is when we did start dating.
You all would have fun alone?
Well, no, just like me and him, as well as his 2 daughters and my sister and
Okay.
all of our friend group. So we started dating in June of 2020, and I got really close with his daughters as well, helped take care of them a lot, and things were going
So
well
he was
for
bringing
him.
kids around you while he was married and before you all were dating?
I actually didn't know that they were his kids in the beginning. I didn't.
Just kids off the street?
No, I had never met them before then.
Who did you think the children were? Typically, you'll say, if some kids show up, you'll say, hey, who are the kids? Go ahead. He didn't tell you, you didn't know, and you didn't ask. Go ahead. All right. Did you bring your kids around her while you were still married to their mother?
While we was separated, yes.
Okay. And you divorced right thereafter?
Honestly, sir, we are not divorced yet.
Okay. All right. Did the kids tell mama?
The kids is not my wife's mother.
Your children's mother?
Yes.
All right. Whose children are they?
Previous relationship.
Previous relationship, not his children. They don't live with you and your wife, correct?
I have full custody of my children.
So they do live with you?
Yes,
and your
sir.
wife. Okay, so you're talking about the technicality. Okay. They didn't tell their stepmom. That's what I'm asking.
Yes, Your Honor, but
Okay,
she has.
that's all. Just wanted to know. She approved it?
Me and her are separated.
Then?
Yes, sir.
All right, but very well, you were still married and
Yes, sir.
kids around another woman while they view mom and dad as
Yes, sir.
still married as a little, but you have your own values. Did you bring your kids around her while you were still married to their mother?
While we was separated, yes.
Okay. And you divorced right thereafter?
Honestly, sir, we are not divorced yet.
Okay.
Plaintiff Kristen Wilson is suing her ex-boyfriend, who claims Kristen cheated on him with his 19-year-old son's friend.
You tell me about the relationship.
Well, me and Kristen, we've known each other for a very long time. Me and her sister went to school together. We started dating. We was together for 2 months. My stepfather passed away. I was grieving at that moment in time. Within a couple of days after his passing, she called me late at night at a friend's house. I went to pick her up. She needed a ride home because she's been drinking. A couple of days after that, she told me that she had relations with one of her friends at that party that night. And that's when we broke up.
Miss Kristen told you this.
Yes, sir.
You got so many women, I don't know All right, Kristen told you this, that she had relations with another man at a party.
Yes, sir.
Why did she just blurted it out one time? Or you think it was a dream or a nightmare? She just blurted it out? How did that come up?
Well, I asked her what she did there, and she was honest with me about it.
Okay. Oh, that was the party. Oh, it was good. Yeah, it was great. Right, great. It was real great. I mean, real great. Oh, honey, what did you do? I had a man, I slept with him, and oh my God, Wilson, you just don't know.
That is not fully correct.
Thanks for telling me, darling. But you didn't have to get so explicit. All right. Linda, if you ever cheat, please don't just come home blurting it out. Let me catch you. All right, I'm sorry. Let's get back to you. Okay. So how did the relationship go when you all started dating?
It went well at first.
Good.
Things were good. Things did get rocky because there was a lot of accusations of cheating and a lot of distrust. That incident, there was no relations. It was just a kiss, and I told him that to be upfront and honest about it. And
There's other people going to tell who they're. I done figured it out now. Go ahead.
Okay. So typically whenever we would break up, because it happened countless times back
Why?
and forth.
Why did you all break up so much?
Most of it was because of him. He would just get tired of it and call it quits, and then he would end up back with his wife. And then later on, we could go a week or a month without talking, and then we would start talking again and end up back together and just repeat the same process all over again. And then we finally broke up for good in January of 2021. And that was it.
What was that last breakup for?
I really can't remember because there's been so many breakups from just countless accusations and no trust.
Did he blurt something out when he came home from a party too? Once?
No, but he would get back with his wife continuously.
You viewed that as
it was
cheating. You viewed that as cheating.
I'm sorry?
And you viewed that as cheating.
Oh, yes.
Okay. That's a new one. Mm-hmm. New twist on the word. All right. If you're with your wife, you're cheating on me. Okay, let me see.
At the time,
If he told you, he said, you and I are exclusive. If he makes all those promises and then breaks those promises, I guess he is cheating. Legal status is not the issue. The issue is commitment and truth.
Yes, and at the time, I was under the impression that he had already filed for divorce and they were in the process of getting divorced. And that never happened.
Right.
So there was that. After all that had happened, we didn't talk for a long time. And then in August of 2021, we became friends again. I was helping out with the kids because I was very close with them. And he had recently gotten a new used vehicle that he knew was going to need some repairs.
And I suppose this is perhaps part of what we're here for.
Yes.
You have any further comments regarding the relationship? She says that you all broke up often and it was primarily because you wanted to go back to your wife or you got tired. She didn't say tired of what. I won't even embarrass her like that.
But there's a lot of things
something about you got tired of. You got tired of something. And went back to your wife, back and forth, and she considers that cheating, number one. And secondly, your final breakup sounds like it was cheating as well with your wife. Because you promised to leave and didn't. You tell me.
Well, me and her relationship was on and off quite a bit.
Why?
Well, there's a big age difference, and me and her don't see certain opinions on the same view.
So you just argue a lot.
Well, not really argue. I don't do a whole lot of arguing with anybody. We did have some misunderstandings and stuff, you know. And we previously went through a lot of stuff also with her having a relation with my son's 19-year-old friend.
Your Honor, if I can butt
And she also got pregnant by that 19-year-old friend.
Wow.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Sure.
Okay. His son is actually his stepson. That is his wife's child.
Oh.
His stepson, not his son.
Why would you
Who I
say
raised.
that?
He is my son.
Right.
Plaintiff Kristen Wilson is suing her ex-boyfriend, who claims Kristen cheated on him with his 19-year-old son's friend.
So why would you get upset about that? Go ahead. How dare he?
I am closer in age to his son and his son's friend.
Well, his son's friend is the one. You didn't date the son too, right?
No.
That's the son's friend.
No.
All right. Go ahead.
No. And he had made it very clear that we were not together. And me and his son, stepson's friend, we had hit it off. We were just hanging out as friends. There was nothing wrong with that. He made it very, very clear that we were not together. And he
Remember,
did
y'all
not-
do that every couple of weeks.
Yes.
So
But
every
he
couple
had
of weeks, do
already-
you go to his son?
He had already been back with his wife by then. So, yeah. He had already
Okay,
been back with his
good
wife.
enough. Now let's get to anything else from you.
No, Your Honor.
All right, let's get to the loan you're suing him about.
Yes. So, early August, he had gotten a vehicle and knew he was going to need repairs on it. And he knew it was going to need a lot, just not as many once he got started. So he suggested that I take out a loan because his credit was not good enough to do it and he wouldn't be able to pay all of that out of pocket. And the agreement was that he would pay me weekly a small amount. We didn't decide on a specific amount, just that he would put forth money weekly to pay it because it was all for parts for his vehicle. But at least the monthly payment, which is on
Did he say how much per month?
$146 and some change.
Okay. 146 and change per month. All right. And what months did he fail to pay?
He hasn't paid a dime yet to any
All
of
right.
it.
And that was August of 21?
The loan was completed on September the 7th of 2021, and the first payment came out on September 30th of 2021.
You had to borrow the money from a finance company or?
It was like a finance company. It was through his work. So he knew
His work.
His work.
So if it wasn't paid, whose credit suffered?
Mine.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to.
So we had decided that there was a 100 days, same as cash deal. That way there wouldn't be any interest on it. And the deadline for that was December 22nd. And we both agreed that we wanted it paid off before then, so he wasn't having to pay
Okay,
any
so the
extra
loan,
on
you
it.
all agreed that he would have to pay it off before. Before what?
December 22nd
And that of 20?
of 2021.
Let me hear from you, sir.
Yes, sir. We did have an agreement that I would make the payments on it, and we agreed on $150 every 2 weeks to try to get paid off quicker. Before the first payment was due, that was getting drafted out of her account, is when we had our split up, and then I found out about everything else that was going on. The betrayal to me, I figured, I ain't going to have to pay it.
So, you get cheated on, you don't pay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, you're dating a girl at the electric company.
Right.
You might even be a supervisor over collections.
Right.
She cheats. Then you can stop paying the electric company? Because your girlfriend who worked down there and who oversaw collections cheated?
No, sir.
I know you're trying to collect on me and you are my girlfriend, but I'm not going to pay because you cheated. Be sitting in the dark. And if you said that to the gas company, you'd be sitting in the dark and the cold.
Yes, sir.
And if you had a tab at the grocery store, you'll be eating slop, sitting in the cold, in the dark.
Yes, Your Honor. But there's
For everybody
difference in
that cheats on
electricity.
you.
There's a big difference in electricity in a personal loan.
No, there isn't a whole lot of difference. It isn't a whole. You owe for your electric and you owe for your loan. I see what's happening here.
Plaintiff Kristen Wilson is suing her ex-boyfriend, who claims Kristen cheated on him with his 19-year-old son's friend.
It is not a legal defense to not pay your bills because they cheat on you, no matter who they cheat with. So I must grant your judgment, because his only defense is that you cheated. But you already came home and told him you kissing. You should have said, what you expect? I'm kissing. If I'm gonna kiss, I'm gonna go to the next step. Do it all. Just kiss. All right. Judge for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Don't bite the hand that helps feed you. I put in quite a bit of
Remember that,
help.
because you was living with me.
And I was the one taking care of the children, feeding, laundry, everything else.
Why you asleep with my son's friend?
Never occurred while we were together.
Plaintiff Phoenicia Jackson was good friends with the defendant, and they often partied together. But eventually, Phoenicia slowed down while the defendant continued her partying ways. Phoenicia's suing because she claims the defendant's daughter damaged her TV. Defendant Rhonda Tutwiler says Phoenicia and her friends are bougie, and they look down on Rhonda and her friends. Rhonda insists her daughter isn't the only one responsible for the broken TV, so she shouldn't have to pay.
Start with you.
Okay, so me and Rhonda met while in middle school, around 12. Rhonda's mom passed away in the process of us meeting. After that, we ended up becoming pretty close. Around high school, me and Rhonda ended up getting really close and becoming best friends. Rhonda had her choice of friends, I had my choice of friends. We didn't care too much for each other.
Why?
Friends. They just was on a different path than me. They partied at once. I partied, I had fun, then I chose a different path. Rhonda decided to still party, have fun, go out, and I just chose a different path from what she chose.
When did you start choosing a different path?
About maybe 3-4 years ago when I opened up my mobile salon.
So you all remain good friends since high school, and that's continued?
Yep, it continued off until this situation
Up until
happened.
This incident? Okay. Let me hear from you. What you looking so grim for? If you was that grim, you wouldn't be here getting sued. You'd have taken her, you'd have kept her from coming here. What you got to say?
We have been friends for a while.
You want to do so? Go ahead.
We have been
There
friends.
you go. Look at that pretty smile.
Okay, we have been friends for a really, really long time. We went to school together, like she said. We became family. Her family became my family. Our kids grew up together.
You all weren't falling out?
No, sir.
Much?
No, sir, not really. We just, you know, like she said, we have our different friends. She has bougie friends. It is not like that I just like to party. They're just uppity and very bougie.
Look down on other people.
So we just
party
really,
a little more, they look down on you, think they're better.
Yes, sir. So I just didn't really like to be like that. I do like to have a little fun, but I don't want to be judged for it.
And people don't know what you might turn that into. You might become a club promoter or something, seriously. People who go out a lot and they become popular, they start giving parties, they become a club promoter, and they make plenty of money. So you're right. You judge people for what they do. Go ahead.
So now I'm just, this the first time we've ever really had a falling out. Like, we've never really bumped heads or anything. And
Where you guys live?
In Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, Florida. Oh.
Yes, sir.
All right. I thought I was going to be able to name some clubs for y'all. You know, I pride myself. I know where the clubs are around the country. If my kids don't take me, I ask them.
Just tell you
So
about
when
it.
I get when I get young people in front of me, I can at least play like I'm with it.
Right.
All right. So what happened to come about this lawsuit for television?
So one evening, Rhonda's daughter and my daughter, they're real close, like best friends, like me and Rhonda.
How old are they?
They're both 11.
Okay.
So she wanted to stay the night over with my daughter. It was my daughter, and it was I have 5 other kids. So it was about 6 or 7 of them, with the supervision of my niece who was watching them. In the process, Rhonda was hanging out with her friends. I was hanging out with my friends. Her daughter was at my house. Once I got home, I discovered that my TV had been knocking down off of my stand and broken. So I investigated, asked all the kids what happened, and it all summed down to Rhonda's daughter, Carlisa, was dancing or twisting or turning in the living room and bumped into the TV and knocked the TV down. So I also have a statement from my niece on page 2.
Was she there?
Yeah, she was.
Of course.
She was there sitting there.
She's the one who did it.
Yeah, she was there.
Go ahead.
Sitting there.
No, what did she say?
So she just basically wrote a statement from page 2 saying that she was a witness when Carlisa knocked the TV stand down.
Defendant Rhonda Tutwiler is being sued by her former friend, who claims Rhonda's daughter broke her TV.
I'll listen to you.
Yes, my daughter was at Phoenicia's house. I did get a statement from my daughter as well on side 2. I really just think, like my baby told me, everybody was jumping and playing, and basically the vibration knocked it off. Her niece is on Facebook 24/7, so I'm pretty sure you didn't even really see what was going on. You know, she's a teenager.
You had a teenager sitting for them?
Yes, my niece, she's 17 now.
And she saw it, obviously.
Correct.
Yeah, and what did you say she said? Didn't you say she said she was dancing around?
Right, and knocked the TV over.
All right. And yours says, and my cousins were playing, running around, the whole house was shaking, and the TV in the whole house shaking. And who is this, wrote this?
My baby. She's 11.
All right, I'm not going to call her a lie. I'm going to just say she was a little confused. They kept saying it was me, but we were all playing. They blamed me because they didn't want a whipping. And that makes sense. The biggest problem you have, ma'am, one, has her daughter had troubles before, to your knowledge?
No. They'll get a little wild, running around, dancing, but nothing too outrageous.
One person said dancing, and the other said running through the house playing. You quoted, said it happened when she was dancing. She was the only one dancing, and that's how it happened. Well, then you hand me a witness statement from your niece, the babysitter, that says it was running through the house playing and bumped into the TV, running through, playing, and knocked it over. That's a big difference from dancing.
Right.
Denise was there.
Yes.
She couldn't grab the TV.
It was a big
She
TV.
couldn't say stop running around. Just run up
I'm pretty
and hold
sure
it
she
up.
did tell them to stop running around, but
And they
as
kept
kids
doing it?
being kids, they gonna do it again until.
No, you can't get a babysitter that you don't instruct how to control the children.
Right.
Right.
That's your negligence. If you got a babysitter that doesn't know how to stop excessive activity which might endanger your property, that's you. Secondly, you have to prove that she did something or she had knowledge that her child has some type of propensity to cause damage. She's putting her child into your hands, in your niece's hands.
Correct.
She's no longer under her authority, and so therefore she's not liable for what her child does when she's under your authority, unless she knows by past incidents that my child is reckless, plays a lot, and will knock things over.
It may have been an accident, but I got a statement from them and asked all the kids like what
and
really
your
happened.
statements contradict each other.
Okay.
You said dancing, and then you handed me something that just said running through the house.
Right.
And you want to convince me that's dancing. And so for you to even tell me that hurts your credibility a little. Have a good day. Claim dismissed. Sorry.
Help me pay for the TV.
Okay.
We can help each other out. We won't have to have a
We should have
disagreement.
said that in the beginning.
Well, we ain't have to even come this far. You right.
I still love you. Still my
love you
friend.
too.